Welcome to SciTech Culture with Steve Kern and Ben Warner, where we examine science, technology, and culture in the 21st century. Visit our website at scitechculture.com. Hello and welcome to SciTech Culture, the show where we discuss science, technology, and culture in its myriad of forms. My name is Ben Warner, and I'm joined once again by my good friend and colleague Steve Kern. How are we today, Steve?
I'm good, thanks, Ben. Hi, everyone. We've got something tasty to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. While we're indoors enjoying the that winter weather, well, you're outside, sort of. At least you got a little bit of sun there. I've got lots of cloud coming in over on the side here. So yes, we're going to be talking about food allergies, and specifically if science is going to obviously play a part in assisting us, I guess, with dealing with food allergies. And I'm sure we all know someone, whether it's in a workplace or a friend or whatnot, who has a food allergy, and they can't always eat everything that you may offer at a party when you get them all over or something, or if you're doing a catered function like I was earlier in the week, and the topic of can people have nuts or this sort of thing. And it's a common enough problem, and it's just going into it. It's quite fascinating that so many variables. We eat the amount of different things that we can eat, and it's amazing, really, that our bodies can take so much of this stuff without having some sort of adverse reaction. But obviously, in some cases, that's what does happen. And of course, there's the whole, it's not fun, is it? If you've got a food allergy, basically you're going to be scrutinizing everything that comes across your plate and wondering whether or not, you can have it. Is there nuts in there or whatnot? So what do you think, just in general terms, what science can bring to the table in terms of this? I mean, obviously it's... I will get into the peanut story in a minute that I found on the ABC, but it would seem to be just trying to figure out what actually causes it from the sounds of things, and determining what elements in the foods may be most responsible.
Well, yeah, and we certainly have hoped that science could have unravelled some of the mysteries around food allergies in the last 10 years or so, but they haven't had much luck. I mean, the best example is the rising nut allergy issue. Nobody's got any idea why in the last generation and a half nut allergies have gone through the roof, and no one's got any idea how to treat it. They say don't introduce your kids to nuts till much later. That doesn't work. Introduce them straight away to nuts. That doesn't work. It's quite a mystery as to why these things are happening. From that end, I guess you can only say that the thing that's only really changed in that period of time is probably the way we process foods. But outside of that, no one's got any idea why the nut allergy, for instance, has had such an effect. But I think ultimately the answer probably lies in genetics, and our understanding to these mysteries will come through a better genetic understanding of food allergies.
Maybe just before we pop into the science part, I'm wondering if it's because there's a more heightened awareness of this sort of thing. Over time, as we learn more and more about our health, our bodies, what we eat, etc., and then these things become much more visible or within, and become more in the public consciousness. And could that have a feed-on effect where because we know more about it, more people become aware of it, and maybe some people who didn't think that they even had it suddenly realize they had it?
That's certainly true. I mean, there are people who, thanks to the awareness, realise that the reason they're feeling terrible every day is because they're eating something they're allergic to, a staple. Could be something like wheat. Gluten intolerance is really tough for people who are gluten intolerant. I think at the same time we have to look at the fact that thanks to the internet, we have a lot of people self-diagnosing food allergies they probably don't have, such as gluten intolerance and any host of a number of others. But by and large, it's hard to believe that only 20 or 30 years ago, and just getting back to the gluten example, people just used to suffer, and they used to think it was just them, and they would just stay away from that food. or try to remember not to eat it, but they didn't realise the wider health implications, apart from feeling bad. So there's certainly more awareness now, but also there's no question studies have shown that food allergies are increasing, and we don't seem to have any answer as to why that is.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, as alluded to before, we have to move on to the peanut story here. Just on the ABC, allergy-free peanuts a step closer as researchers identify genetic code. Essentially, the decoding of peanut DNA has opened the door to improving crop yields and the possible eradication of peanut allergies, according to an international research team. Very, very interesting as well. That they're getting like right down at that level. They dissecting the peanut under the microscope, so to speak. I mean, this would have to be a genetically modified food, wouldn't it?
Not necessarily, but it could be. What I find very interesting about this story, and I haven't seen the paper itself. There's no doubt they've analysed the complete genome of the peanut. That can be done, and sure, there's all sorts of benefits: yield, nutrition, etc. I don't know they actually know anything about where the allergy part of the peanut is. I think that's a nice little extra they've added to make this sound like an exciting story, so it gets picked up in news. But if we don't know what's causing peanut allergy, don't know how we can know by looking at the peanut genome which bit to fix.
And it would seem to be a bit presumptuous too that it's up to each individual person and whatever their individual reaction is as well, and maybe determining a specific point in the peanut might make it difficult. Maybe they can generalize. Maybe they might be able to find a general something in it that's doing it, but then there might also be individual reactions to each individual person.
True, but you'll find there's probably a general trigger. So lactose intolerance, for milk is an issue. But the interesting thing is we know what lactose intolerance is. We know what causes it. It's lactose. And so scientists, and I thought we covered this actually on a sci tech lecture a while back, but about 10,000 years ago, it was thought that all humans were basically had allergies to cow's milk. And it was a mutation that allowed us to drink. So the people who are actually lactose intolerant have never had that mutation that allows us to drink cow's milk without any lactose reaction. But we don't know what the allergy to peanuts is. So once we know what that allergy is, we look at the human genome and look at how that interacts with the peanut genome, and then that's when you can work on the peanut genome to avoid the allergies. Yeah. But it's a very interesting topic. Because it really shows what's required to find out precisely what causes allergies and how to fix it.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. Just another topic that I came across, the cutting edge research helps better identify food allergens, and it's the National Measurement Institute has developed a breakthrough method which will help food manufacturers identify common food allergens and save lives. Which is always good. Food allergens like those found in milk, shellfish, or nuts are currently identified using ELISA, a technique that detects the presence of an allergen in food. However, the ELISA technique is proven to false positive and false negatives, the effect of which can be significant to the food industry, which goes without saying, doesn't it? Because if they they need to know if it's right or not.
Yeah.
But doesn't that, like I was saying before, I know that you can find elements or find specific parts that could be responsible, but there seems to be so many variables as well as to what could be causing things.
Well, they do, but typically they're fairly common. So, there'll probably be a protein, and the way the protein binds something or prevents an enzyme or some other process in the human body working is what causes the allergy. You get a build-up of whatever that is because it can't be broken down. So you get an immune response against it. So whether it's an irritation of the gut lining, which is usually what these food allergies are about, or something that enters, the bloodstream, It can be anything like that. But once again, these tests that we're talking about here always are based on the fact that you know what the allergen is. So once you know what the allergen is, you can definitely go about detecting it and you can go about preventing it causing an allergic reaction. But as I say, for the peanuts, I don't know that we're that much closer to working them out.
Yeah, absolutely. And just finally, before we wrap up, there was this other story about Nestle making a $112 million investment in a new kind of test. Essentially, it was announced the company was investing up to 100 million euros or $110 million to develop a test that can diagnose milk allergies in infants and toddlers. So, far from making candy bars and whatever else that they get up to. It shows that there's like the commercial side are interested in it as well. If nothing else, to sell more product to more people.
Well, I was going to say, as I've got no knowledge as to whether or not this is true, but as an educated guess, you'd probably think Nestle is at the forefront of lactose and nut allergies, because let's face it, that's pretty much what they sell. And well, no, not the allergies, but products which can cause these allergies. So obviously, for them, if they can unlock the what causes these allergic reactions and work out how to stop them, then they're going to increase their market share by another 15%. So I imagine they've got teams of scientists working on it around the clock.
Not to mention it'll make for a great marketing campaign as well.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine, allergy-free peanut M&Ms or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Steve, we might wrap it up there. Food allergies, it's a fascinating topic. And like I said, we all probably know someone that or know of someone, regardless of all walks of life that we walk through, that probably has a food allergy. And you never know, you may develop one yourself as well over time. So it's always good to keep abreast of this sort of thing and make sure you get yourself checked out if you do happen to develop an allergy.
Very true. Very true.
Absolutely. All right. So don't forget our website, scitechculture.com. You can get all of our links and contact there. Feel free to interact with us on Twitter, Google Plus, and Facebook. So we're on there and willing to, exchange ideas and whatnot. We've got our photographs on Instagram and Flickr. And if you think anyone's interested in our weekly discussions or roughly weekly discussions that we have on SciTech Culture, feel free to send them to our website. We greatly appreciate that. All right, so that's it for this episode. We'll catch you next time.